Welcome back! In our last tutorial, we showed how to filter, drill, and sort in an ad hoc contract data report. If you haven't watched the first few videos, you probably want to view them first because this video builds upon them. In this video, we'll be learning how to create a more advanced level report that includes filtering, sharing, and scheduling. We strongly suggest you follow along with us in order to get the best experience. So open up another tab in your browser, navigate to sam.gov and log in, and get ready to build this report with us. Before we jump into the reporting tool, let's take a look at the requirements for this report so we have the proper context. For this report, we are asked to find the dollars obligated to contracts awarded by GSA to veteran-owned businesses in fiscal year 2019 and to explore what those contracts were looking for by looking at the NAICS information. Then, after we've run that report, we want to narrow it down to the top 10 NAICS codes by dollars obligated. The attributes we'll want on our report are the department ID and name, the agency ID and name, the NAICS code and description, and whether the business is veteran-owned and the metric is dollars obligated. Now that we know what we want to report on, let's go to sam.gov and get started with our report building. At this point, you should be pretty familiar with accessing ad hoc reports from the sam.gov homepage. Select Data Bank in the header menu, select Contract Data, and then select Ad Hoc, followed by Award IDV Information Report. After making these selections, we are in the reporting platform. Once we are in the reporting tool, we follow the same path that we followed in our first 3 videos. Create, New Report, Blank Report. To answer our report prompt, let's recall that our requirements are to examine this data for fiscal year 2019. So our answers to the date prompt will be 10/1/2018 for the start date and 9/30/2019 for the end date. Then we select Edit in Design Mode to enter the report building interface. First, let's add our attributes to begin the construction of the report. Our requirements call for the following attributes, which we can find in Schema Objects, followed by Attributes: Contracting Department ID, Contracting Department Name, Contracting Agency ID, and Contracting Agency Name are all found in the Department and Agency Information folder. While we are adding these to the report, remember that we also want to filter on the Contracting Department ID to narrow it down to GSA. So before we navigate to our next attribute, we can go ahead and drag the Contracting Department ID to the filter area and set it to equals and 4700, which is the code for GSA, and click Apply. That way, we have only had to find the attribute once in order to add it to both the report and the filter. The next attributes that we want to add are the NAICS code and the NAICS description. We'll double-click them and add them into the report. Our last attribute is veteran-owned business. We can add that to both the report and the filter as well, since we only want to see contracts awarded to veteran-owned businesses. In the filter, instead of using Qualify, click on the Select Radio button. Move Yes from the Available box to the Selected box by double-clicking or by selecting and using the right arrow to move it over. Click Apply. Navigating back up to the Award IDV information level, we will follow a similar path to add our metric, public objects, metrics, dollars obligated, as was specified in the report's requirements. Now, before we refine this down to the top 10 contracts, we are going to run this report. And as you can see, there are 381 rows in the results. Now we are going to use the View filter to refine our results to the top 10. This can be found under the Data tab, followed by Add View Filter Condition. Select the dollars obligated metric from the drop-down and add it to our View filter to make the necessary selections. In this case, highest and 10. Note that the condition was inserted and our number of rows is now 10. Now we can look at the NAICS descriptions that have the most dollars obligated to contracts with veteran-owned businesses. Before we move on to topics of sharing and scheduling reports, let's save our newly created report to the My Reports folder. This can be done under the Report Home tab. Let's call it GSA Procurements, then select Run Newly Saved Report when prompted. Now that we have saved our report, we can talk about scheduling and sharing. This report is relatively small, but let's say, for example, that the report was 5,000 rows long. We still want to share the analysis and insight with our colleagues. From this report output screen, we can easily find the share icon along the top part of the toolbar. By making this selection, an email link can be generated to be sent to your peers. If your agency allows for pop-ups, selecting Email Link will automatically create an email that contains the proper report link in the body and the report name as the subject. If your agency does not allow pop-up functionality, then you can copy and paste the link within the Copy to Clipboard button, which is immediately to the right of the URL. Additionally, there is the functionality to print, export to Excel, print to PDF, and more along this toolbar. Finally, we can schedule delivery of an ad hoc report in a variety of methods. Hypothetically, let's say that this GSA procurement report is one of the first things that you look at each morning, and you want to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date information each day when you log in at 9:15 a.m. The scheduling button on your report output screen makes this possible. We simply click the button and make the selections that fit our situation. Once scheduled, the report will automatically execute and be stored in our history list each time it's triggered by a certain time or certain event. So now we have learned to use the advanced reporting capabilities to both create and share our reporting insights. Thank you for joining us for another video. For more information, please visit the contract data page linked from the sam.gov homepage. Remember, you can search the Federal Service Desk Knowledge Base for additional videos and frequently asked questions, or get help with technical issues at fsd.gov. To provide GSA feedback about features, functionalities, or about the user experience in sam.gov, click the feedback button located at the bottom of the site.